What's wrong with your mic?
Oh God, I'm just dropping bad stuff on the floor.
I'm just putting them on mute. Evening, folks. Welcome to another episode of the Tapinfootball podcast. Our usual sort of fans forum. So we're just going to dissect the best of the weekend's action. If you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, go subscribe now. If you're not following us on Instagram, Twitter, all of that jazz, just go follow us now. There's no better place to start really than to go to the match that had the most goals this weekend. So I really wanted to touch on Man United because it seems like there's a lot of Man United are back, make United great again. Mason Greenwood, generational talent. Martial suddenly, Thierry Martial. It's all going well. And Oli, the master genius as well. So, Clinton, I'm going to come to you first, really. So, Man United, pretty emphatic victory against, to be honest, one of the worst sides in the Premier League, and a side by all accounts who deserve to go down this season. What did you make of their performance on Saturday?
First off, before we get to the performance, Man United fans need to calm down. All this Man United are back. You beat Bournemouth. We beat Bournemouth by the same margin. We beat them 4-1. You beat them 5-2. So if Man United are back, Newcastle must be back. If that's how we're doing. So calm yourself. I know you got Pogba. He's doing bits. Fernandes is doing bits. Martial. Oh my God! All that sort of stuff. Calm yourself. Right. I just had to get out of the way. Second of all, yeah, they did look good. I'm not gonna lie. Like, they did look good. Greenwood, frightening. If he's playing for England or when he's playing for England, it's gonna look a madness up front. Now him, Sterling, Sancho, and all the rest of it, superb. Fernandes pulling strings like a violin. Martial, top binners all day. It's looking nice. I'm not gonna lie. But all this Man United are back. Beat someone with some clout and then come back to us. All right.
Wow.
All right. So you know what? I may as well come to the United fan who's actually on for now. Steve said he's gonna join us soon. So Mike, we heard some pretty nasty comparisons after that game. We heard Mason Greenwood compared to Van Persie, generational talent, this, that, and the other. So give us your thoughts on Mason Greenwood now, because now he scored more goals than Lacazette this season. Scored as much goals as Lacazette this season in the league. Scored as much goals as Firmino this season in the league. Scored more than Lucas Moura in the league. Like he's outscored quite a few people. So talk us through Mason Greenwood and what the general perception is now.
In only 7 starts as well. In only 7 starts.
Is he in danger of being overgassed?
I wouldn't say. Well, maybe. I mean, we've been calling him Mason Van Persie for a long time now, so it's been brewing, isn't it? And now he's getting the goals on the left and the right. That's our boy. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're gassed by his finishing. We know how good he can finish. I didn't know he could play on the right like that. He's doing his thing. It also means that we have to understand we've been seeing Daniel James play there for a very long time now. We ain't been happy. Yeah. So now we've got someone there doing his job. We're gassed. We're excited. We're over the moon. You know what I mean? The guy took the ball, just one touch, then licked it top corner. Took on another guy, licked the other corner. Both feet. He's doing this thing. Me personally, I'm happy, innit? I don't have to see Daniel James no more. I ain't got to see Pereira no more. I ain't got to see Phil Jones no more. There's bare man I ain't seen no more. And my life is happy. Rojo's been sent back to Argentina. Listen, life is good. I'm enjoying it. So I'm going to be gassed more than ever. That's right.
Fair. So before I get on to you, Dan, so Clinton, quick question. Would Daniel James start at Newcastle?
Not a chance. He's getting ahead of ASM. Are you mad? Listen, that's the most odd Man United signing ever. My man should just run forever, bro. And one thing I've got to remember as well, that anyone see that Wan-Bissaka skill?
Yeah, we're talking about that.
The thing is with Wan-Bissaka, yeah. The thing is with Wan-Bissaka, like you talk about, your fullback, you're dribbling at them, you might break their ankles and that. But Wan-Bissaka, he looks like he might break his own ankles when he tries to dribble. You know that? He's actually twisting himself up. It's nuts.
The basics. Stick to the basics. There's no need to do extra. Everyone's getting ahead of themselves. You know when people start getting gas, like, yeah, I'm gonna do a bit now. No, calm down. Let certain men do certain things. You do what you're good at, and they'll do what they're good at. Everyone's starting getting gas now and all the rest of it. Man United are back.
We're back.
So Dan, I wanted to come to you next because I heard a pretty interesting point as well, which is valid when you actually look at the goals they're conceded. Since the restart and generally since their probably Man United's last like 10 or 12 games, it seems like they've kept a pretty sort of tight ship defensively, but the goals that they concede are just some either ridiculously stupid goals or just some basic goals. And more often than not, I hate to bring up his name again, but a certain 80 million pound centre back.
Hey, look, that man is saying Maguire's like an overpriced Phil Jones. I'm not gonna lie. I'm saying that man word on the street is Harry Maguire is an overpriced Phil Jones. Can you confirm or deny that?
So yeah, exactly. So if it's not Maguire making a mistake, it's David De Gea howler. If it's not David De Gea howler, it's maybe Luke Shaw's caught in the wrong position and whatnot. So Dan, talk us through this Man United defense because it seems like they've done well recently, but they just can't cut out these basic errors.
Personally, I think the job that Ole's doing defensively is underrated. Personally, I think he's got the team structure in a good position. Like if you look at it, as you've said, they're not really conceding goals from open play unless it's a massive error. De Gea, I think, was at fault for 3 of the last goals that they conceded, and then plus add the first goal that Bournemouth scored as well on the yesterday. Then you can make that a 4th one. And I think the job that he's doing is actually underrated because the structure is there, and I think with a couple of defensive additions that defense can get even better because I don't think Maguire is necessarily the commanding centre back that £80 million buys you. But I think if they were to get someone like that in and then maybe get an improvement on Luke Shaw as well, then you might see them he keep even more clean sheets.
Okay, well, Steve's actually joined us now. Steve, we've already spoken about Mason Greenwood, so you can't wank him off on air. We've spoken about. So I want to.
You know what's funny, Toby? As soon as you started talking about Greenwood, I was sprinting home so I could get a word in.
So Steve, I actually wanted to talk about your other attackers because I know Dan's just spoken about the negatives, about the mistakes, but Martial's hit 20 goals in all competitions for the first time in his career at Man United. His highest ever goal return in the Premier League now. I think he's on like 15, 16 goals. Marcus Rashford again, 15, 16 league goals, and I think 20 goals in all competitions. So it seems that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is finally getting a tune out of these players, and it seems that the injection of Bruno Fernandes just adds a whole new dimension to your attack. So going forward next season, in addition to that right winger that you lot need, what's your stance now on bolstering that team with an additional striker or possibly an upgrade on Dan James? What's your view on that?
Yeah, I think if you look at our starting 11 now, Sancho in or Sancho out, like even if we were to play Greenwood across the season, I think is a really good front 11 or starting 11 rather. I think the front 5 or 6 are really talented. But then I look at our options off the bench and we're bringing on Ighalo. I don't know if Lingard will be around next season, but Ighalo, Dan James, Mata, who will be another year older and he's already finished now. So I think we really do need to strengthen if we're going to get back to anywhere near contending in and around for the title and for other honours as well. Because past our first 11, and that's what I'm slightly concerned about as we go to the tail end of the season. That if a result's not going our way, I don't know who we can bring off the bench. I don't know who we can bring off the bench to change the game. And so that's something I think we really need to look at next season. And I think, obviously, with Villa seemingly going down, looks like Grealish will be available for a cut price. And I don't know where he'd fit in this team at the minute, but I just think when you've got these sort of quality players available, and he's an Englishman as well, you should just go out and get them and then worry about where they'll fit in later.
So, well said. Okay. Just before we move on to the next match, which is the Arsenal game against Wolves, Clinton, I want to come back to you. So, Newcastle, obviously a team that many tip to be in a relegation battle, and you're anything but in a battle. Bournemouth, on the other hand, are a side that, by all accounts, many expected to be where you are in the table. What does the future have in store for Bournemouth? Like, if and possibly when they go down, is it a case of them being literally stuck in the doldrums and we're not going to see them for like another 2-3 seasons? Or is it a case of if they go down, they'll be able to sort of regroup and get themselves back up?
That's a very good question. So I think it's all down to how they invest. I know when we went down, we invested like quite heavily in the squad that we have right now. You know, we've got the likes of Matt Ritchie, funny enough, from Bournemouth. Spent 10 million on him. White Girl, another 10 million on him. Kept a lot of our squad, and that's why we was able to come back up straight away. With Bournemouth, on the other hand, you got to look at the likes of Josh King. He was linked elsewhere. Nathan Ake looks like he might head back to Chelsea. Callum Wilson, he might go somewhere else. So it's looking difficult, and I think the main key thing as well is, can they keep hold of Eddie Howe? I think that's the main thing. I know he's not doing bits right now, but Eddie Howe in the Championship, I think he will bounce back up with those players. But again, it's whether they can keep hold of that squad, and then whether they can keep hold of Eddie Howe as well. And we was lucky to do both. We kept hold of the majority of our squad. We kept hold of Rafa Benitez. I mean, basically, we just blew away the Championship. So I think that's the your question, bro.
I think one of the things that I worry about with Bournemouth is just like the resources they actually have. I think they have the lowest or the smallest stadium in the Premier League at the minute, right? Yep. And so, I mean, everyone's taken a hit from like gate receipts this season, but I mean, that must be a major source of their income. And the fact that they're not really able to expand past that, I think, is a real problem for them in terms of finances. Because obviously, you look at some of the teams that can go down, like your Newcastles, like West Ham did in previous years, like Leeds and so on and so forth. And they've got like massive stadiums, whereas Bournemouth, they can't fill past, I think it's about 15,000, isn't it? Something around that. So I just wonder financially how much backing they can have to bring themselves back up once they do go down.
They've got rich owner though, because they've actually like been splashing the cash since they've been in the Premier League. But I just think their recruitment needs to improve, and I don't know what sort of structure they have there at the club, but it looks to me that Eddie Howe probably has, you know, a big say in the players that they bring in, and I think his ability to identify talent is definitely questionable, I think, to say the least, because the number of buyers that they bought in from, you know, your Liverpools or wherever, a lot of them have actually failed to hit the ground running. Like you think of, you know, the likes of Jordan Ibe, some of the defenders that they brought in.
He's about to be released as well. Can you imagine? Jordan Ibe. He's about to be released. I think he has been released already. Crazy.
Yeah, didn't he have a court case or something like that?
I can't remember.
Yeah, for drink driving. Yeah, he did. But it's I just think there's too many of their signings have not worked out for them, and I think, you know, if they are trying to get back into Premier League, I think they need to look at, you know, what some of the other clubs like Clinton's mentioned, you know, what Newcastle have done when they've come back to the Premier League. I don't want to say Aston Villa because I think they sort of spent 100 million and they're also going down as well. But you know, I think there's examples of some clubs that they can look to emulate in trying to bounce back up.
Okay, well, before just wanted to rattle through some other results as well. Norwich losing at home yet again to Brighton. I think the unanimous verdict is that they are down, unless anyone else wants to agree. Or I mean, anyone else wants to disagree?
No, I just think Farke was crazy prior to the Premier League restarting when he said he believed Norwich could get out of this. I know he has to say it publicly, but they were gone. We all knew they were
absolutely finished.
It was pointless.
And to be honest, you know, the annoying thing about Norwich is I really feel that their squad, like I know people said they haven't spent a lot of money and stuff, but I really feel like their squad was more than good enough to stay up in this year.
I don't think it was good enough to stay up.
I actually do.
It wasn't good enough to stay up.
Honestly, like if you look at the way they've set up games, right, like going forward, they have talent there, and in defense, they actually have talent as well. Like for me, if they showed any focus towards some defensive solidity, I think they would have done a lot better this year, man. Like they're even as bad as they've been, they're still not even that far off the teams in 16th and 17th. You know, so I really feel like if they had a different manager, in charge today, with in charge this season, they could have done a lot better than what they have.
I think much is made of some of their young defenders like Ben Godfrey and Max Aarons, who I think they were hyped a lot prior to this Premier League season starting, and I've not found them to be anywhere near as good as the standard they were talked about, to be honest.
Yep.
I'm not going to lie. So I think they're sitting where they deserve to be, if I'm honest. And I think if it wasn't for Pukki's goals earlier in the season, they'd probably be sitting in an even worse position.
No, I don't think I agree, because I think players like...
Dan, we're not about to do this. We're not about to do this, Dan. We're not about to...
Generally, though, I think someone like Godfrey, I think his stock's actually risen this season, as bad as Norwich has been. Because his individual performances have not been bad. He's been good as a one-on-one defender, I think, personally. I just think their whole defensive structure has been wayward.
I think
the only one who's kind of stock's only risen, or the only two, is Pukki's and Cantwell's. And I think they're definitely a team that will get asset stripped, because that's their sort of model. They kind of get players in through the youth ranks, sell them on. I mean, we took on Jacob Murphy from them from 12 million. He was off the block.
I remember.
But again, that's what they tend to do. That's their model. So when they go down, they'll look to cash in on a lot of their team, on a lot of their players. So I think they'll be down there in the championship for a while when they go down.
Yeah,
I agree.
What do you lot think of? Sorry, I wanted to know what you lot thought of Buendia, because I think around January times, there was really a lot of talk around him, and his stats were looking pretty effective. But I feel like I've kind of seen that quieten down, and I think I don't know if Dan, I'm misquoting you, but I feel like you might have said he'd be good for Arsenal at that point.
I think he might third.
I still
yeah. What's the
yeah? He's a good player. He's very creative as well. He's one of the few players in the Premier League who can actually be a creative force. I think his only issue for me is his lack of goals. I think for some reason or another, he had a decent eye for goal in the Championship. Ever since he's come up to the Premier League, I think he just gets nosebleeds when he's in a position to shoot. But I feel like someone with his creative attributes, they will always serve a purpose for some of the better sides in this league.
Yeah, I agree. And especially when you're looking at Arsenal and you're looking at the midfield options that we have, like, he's definitely an improvement on a lot of them that we have there.
Well, I think Arsenal takes us sort of on to our next game as well. So I'm actually going to invite Adam from Wolves as well. So obviously Arsenal went to the Molineux and actually defended relatively well and beat Champions League hopefuls Wolves. So Adam, welcome to the stream, mate. Hope you're well. I wanted to ask a question. What was it that sort of went wrong for you lot yesterday? Was it a case of underestimating Arsenal's sort of defensive prowess, or was it a case of not getting the starting lineups right? What was the reason that you...
First to say was Adama up top. That was never going to work. It worked against City because they dropped back. We went over the top. And then that works for his pace, but when we're trying to break down a team, we've not the link-up play for him to work properly. So then you're losing Jota, who works well with Jimenez, and you're not getting the most out of Adama. And we don't have enough people committed forward as it is. If you go to up top without Adama, who's going to stay wider, it just doesn't work.
Fair enough. Well, Coach Mike, I wanted to ask about Donny, because I feel like a lot of the play that Wolves had was coming on that left-hand side, especially in the first half. And it's not that I dislike Johnny. I don't think that he's a bad player, but I feel like when you compare the effectiveness of Doherty on the right-hand side, I didn't see why Wolves didn't just try to direct as much traffic as they could on that right-hand side, especially when I know obviously Tierney back in the team was quite relatively solid. Kolasinac actually had a really good game, but I just didn't think they played to their strength there. So what did you think of his performance yesterday?
Well, Johnny, he's quality defensively, and that's what he's in the job to do. But if you going forward, he's capable, but he's not the player. Doherty going forward is quality. Johnny defensively is quality, but Johnny going forward, you're better off using Doherty. So you're not playing to strengths by using him so much attacking wise.
Yeah, go on. Sorry, Mike. You want?
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, Doherty's attacking abilities are a lot more effective compared to Johnny's, and I think because of the way Wolves play, the way he creeps in when the ball's coming from the left towards the box inside, his timing's perfect, all of that, and they didn't really utilize that. Which you said Tierney, obviously Tierney's a good left back, very good defensively as well. So maybe they're worried about him being able to cancel that threat. Obviously, Kolasinac was on his game as well. But I worry about Johnny. I've never been convinced by him. I feel that's an area they can improve on, and they should improve on. He's not a bad player, just not of the quality if they want to push on to where they are right now. Which is,
to be honest, I completely disagree with that. I think Johnny is the one out of Doherty, and he's the one who's proper class. Doherty is a liability defensively.
Really?
Like, he's very good going forward, but defensively he doesn't track back enough. That could be down to the fact he's in a physically demanding position and Nuno wants him up there more, but he leaves us very defensively exposed.
What's happened to that young left back that you have, Vinagre? Because I've not really seen him. Yeah, I've not really seen him much this season.
Yeah, to be fair, that's been a bit worrying because when you see him, he's another one. I think the issue is because Doherty, we haven't really got a backup for him. We're kind of forced into having just to balance stuff out. You need Johnny on there, and then that's kind of just frozen Vinagre out because otherwise we'd be too top heavy in the wing back department.
Well, Clinton, I'm going to come to you next. So let's actually focus on Arsenal. So Arteta, they said that the defense, the Arsenal defense of Luiz Mustafi, it wasn't coachable at all. But yet here is Arteta, sixth clean sheet in 14. I think it's like 14 Premier League appearances. Is that right? Or 14?
7 and 15. 7
clean sheets in 15 Premier League appearances now, and 3 points at the Molineux. So, what is it that Arteta is doing right now with this Arsenal defense?
First of all, I've got to say Arteta is some sort of a magician. To make Mustafi and Luiz work, that is God's work. That is God's work right there. I don't know how he's making that sort of work. If we had him like 10, 15 years ago when we had the likes of Bramble and Boomsong at the back, we would probably want the league. We needed a manager like that to coach players like that. I honestly don't know what he's doing, but again, keep it up. And if he wants to kind of lend any pointers towards Steve Bruce, by all means, he's more than welcome. I've always said Arsenal are kind of like probably 2 centre halves away from like really doing some damage, because that's always been their kind of Achilles heel. They've always had great forwards going forward, obviously, but in terms of that kind of defensive skill, they just kind of get run ragged, and that's probably where they need to kind of focus on the most. I would like to see them sign, and I'm not going to ask about like a Koulibaly or like a no-nonsense central defender, English central defender who just does things simple. None of this kind of continental playing out from the back. Leave that to all the rest of them, man, innit? Just kind of get someone who's a steady Eddie, does what he needs to do, pass it to all the fancy Dan man, and let them run right.
Fair. Well, fair enough. I agree, to be honest. Dan, I'm going to come to you because I can see you've got this stupid, annoying smile on your face. So, obviously, we were talking about Mason Greenwood before. On Thursday, we were waxing lyrical about Phil Foden. So, I feel like Bukayo Saka is one many aren't really speaking about in enough high regard. This guy's got 10 assists in all competitions, 4 goals in all competitions this season as well. Been playing left back, left mid, right wing, central mid. What is Saka's ceiling? Because there's a huge debate on this one. We hear that Greenwood's a generational talent, but for some reason Saka's not that good, etc., etc. So what is his ceiling, and where do you see him long term for Arsenal?
Yes, I think long term that where I've liked him the most actually is playing in that sort of left side of midfield or left side of central midfield as well, like where he gets a chance to carry the ball forward into the final third. I think if he starts in the final third, he maybe has doesn't have the biggest skill set, I think, to get out of trouble there. But I think the best thing about Saka is that he's so direct and aggressive, both on and off the ball, right? Like he's always looking to make things happen. Do you know what I mean? And I think his shooting as well is superb. Left foot, right foot. You know that he's more than likely gonna test the keeper as well. And I think as well, given the fact that he's a 3-4 months away from turning 19, even once he gets a bit more size and strength, that he could go very, very far. Like I can see him doing some sort of, not to say that he'll be as good as Bell, but like a similar sort of physical explosion where you can actually see him, you know, sort of terrorize defenders and left backs. Because even for him now at age 18, like he's strong on the ball, like he's bodying people, moving them away from holding the ball up well. So you know, I think the sky's the limit for that kid, man.
Okay, well, I wanted to talk on the strikers. So obviously, Lacazette scored an away goal, so he's good for his solitary away goal for the season. Is that right? his guaranteed one away goal every season, I think.
So, mate, that's his first away goal since February 19. So I don't even know if he guaranteed anything.
His one away goal for the season. But I actually wanted to go back to you, Adam, as well, because Jimenez, I think by all accounts, a lot of people were expecting Jimenez and Traore to just disrupt that Arsenal back line. But I feel like Jimenez was comfortably handled by Mustafi. Yeah. So I think, what was it, in your opinion, that sort of hindered his performance? Because I know you mentioned that maybe the rhythm he had with Jota would have been beneficial if Jota had started. But, do you think that was just an off day for Jimenez then?
I think it goes back to a lot of what his strengths are. He's good in the build-up play and he's good in the air, but the way we set up, Adama's not so good in the link-up play. So you're kind of losing what Traore was good at, which is getting down the wing, putting in crosses to Jimenez, and also what Jimenez is good at, which is linking up with the players around him. I think you leave him even more isolated than he is, because our midfield doesn't get forward enough. It was just, he's too isolated without Jota or even Neto.
Yeah,
Neto could have done a job. I would have personally started Neto, because I don't think Jota's had a good start to the restart. But I just think Traore was the wrong option.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think as well, one thing that I want to say to that as well is that I want to commend Arteta for his tactics yesterday as well. Like, I think he saw when, because Nuno is probably one of the best tacticians, I think, in division as well. And I think when, you know, Nuno saw that it wasn't really working, he tried to bring on Jota and play Adama further wide. And I think you saw Arteta reacted almost immediately. Like, I think 2 minutes later, he took off Tierney, brought on Maitland-Niles to deal with that Adama threat on that side, and brought on Willock as well to help out defensively in defending Jota. And I think that's one of the first games where the guys actually used his substitutions to 100% effectiveness, and I think that he's learning on the job, and I just wanted to call that out yesterday as well.
Fair enough. Because Steve, I'm going to come to you first next before we move on to shop. But Adam made a good point about Wolves. Their setup wasn't right at all, and I feel like that Adama Jimenez point is valid as well, because I feel like Adama and Jimenez, don't get me wrong, they have a great partnership, but I feel like they work extremely better when Wolves are actually the away side, the underdog, and they go away from home. And it's a case of Adama as the out ball, and then Jimenez can hold up the ball, etc., etc. I felt with Arsenal at home, Wolves, in my opinion, are the better side. And I think at home, Wolves should have had more license to actually take the game to Arsenal. And I feel like Jota should have started that game, in my opinion. And maybe they probably should have set up in some sort of 4-3-3. What did you think of Nuno's approach to the game?
All right, when you said my name, I was sweating because
Why?
I didn't watch the match. I was like, I do not want this guy to come to me. I don't. Yeah, genuinely, I didn't see the match, so I can't comment on it.
Okay, so I'll go to you then, Mike.
You always about them is that what you're saying about the way they style and the way they play is very, very spot
Kojo
on.
didn't see it either, did he?
No, I did. I saw it. I'm just trying to get things back because a lot of Adama's involvement in the game or key moments were sort of him in one-on-one situations or chasing the ball, him versus Martinez, and Martinez usually beating him. So I was just thinking about their impact in the game, but it's sort of like you're right. They took away what they're good at, and sometimes you just gotta stick to what you're good at. At the end of the day, it's taking you this far. You're in the qualifying, in the race for qualifying for the Champions League. Sorry, and I feel like I don't know why they changed it. I don't know why they changed the system. I feel like Arteta was very smart in keeping the system that he knows works now with the 3-4-3, and maybe what we were talking about earlier with Kolasinac and Tierney. Maybe that's why he thought. That's why Nuno thought to now bring Traore in a different sort of situation, play him in a different sort of way, because maybe he thought keeping those guys away from your main sort of threat alongside Jimenez will give you a lot more chances. But again, we still have to question Adama's end product, because he's been able to cross, but his finishing has always been a bit iffy. And if he's in the position to come and go one-on-one with the striker, you're not sure now if he's still going to finish or not. Whereas if he's crossing, you know he's going to find Jimenez. So, he has to refer back to tap and start again.
Yeah, I've just got a point to it. I think the reason we went with that system is basically because when Adama's played since the restart, it's been class. And then Donker against Villa had absolute blind of the game, won us the game. So I think he was just trying to, and Jota's been pretty iffy since we come back. So I think he was just trying to work them all in. But I don't think he was overly thinking about the game itself. He was just thinking about who should be playing.
So before we move on, then Adam. So I just wanted to ask one last question whilst you're here. So Wolves now in the race for Champions League. Do you think that's you pretty much done? And is it focusing on the Europa League?
Yeah, I think we should be getting Europa League this season, and it's whether we can get Champions League via Europa League in August. To be honest, I think our Champions League battle's done.
Okay.
How much do you rate your chances of winning Europa?
I back us, but I don't. Just I can't put a number on it. But like, I back us, but I don't.
Are there any teams left in that you're like scared of? You don't want to play?
United. Just say United, then. Just say Man United. Like,
We're
come on.
United.
Wait, what? What? No, you're smoking, mate. We'll savage you. We'll
finish you now, man.
We'll savage you.
But to be fair, you didn't beat United. Like, you played them, 3 times?
And we played, since we've been promoted, we beat them twice, and then they beat us in a cup replay.
Yeah.
Which was only a replay because we had a goal disallowed.
Oh, God, here we go.
He's confident.
All right, well,
don't worry, we're New School United now, innit? Don't worry about that one. We'll take care of you.
All right. Well, Adam, thank you for coming on. Anyway, we're going to move to this part of the podcast, but it was nice to have you on. I'm sure we'll speak again soon, man. Take it easy.
Have a good one.
All right. So, guys, I actually wanted to just touch on some of the two of the bigger sides who played this weekend as well. So Chelsea back to winning ways. 3-0. I'm not sure what happened there with Steve. Yeah, Chelsea back to winning ways. Picked up a 3-0 result against Watford, and Liverpool. I think they were made to sweat a little bit for their 2-0 win against Aston Villa today. Two questions here. So it's a open question. Anyone can answer it. So, are Liverpool going to actually break Man City's record in terms of the points total?
No.
What do you think?
No.
You don't think so?
I think once you win the title, it's really hard to keep the motivation going. And I just feel like, obviously from what I saw against the City match, that I just feel like they've taken their foot off the pedals ever so slightly. And I think if you're going for that plus 100 points tally, like, you need to be absolutely on it. And I don't know if they are. I feel like they've gone on holiday mode somewhat.
Clinton, you were meant. Sorry, go on, Steve.
Sorry, I think they need the points record as well, because as good as this team is, people still question if they're like one of the best or whatever. So if they get the points record, because no one doubts City, they went 100 points, 98, they defended the title. If you beat that City record, no one can come to you and say, well, you are this or you're that. It gives you something to hold on to. So I think they need it, but I don't think they're motivated, or I think they've become complacent. So I don't think they're going to get it.
So Clinton, I know you were also saying that you don't think they're going to do it. Is that because Newcastle play Liverpool the last game of the season? Are you just saying it because of that, or are you just saying it because you don't think that
we're worried about that game? We're worried about the next game, let alone the end of the season. By that stage, listen, today we showed that we was on the beach mentality. What do you think is going to happen at the end of the season? We're hoping that Liverpool have an off day. We're hoping that they're rolling out Ian Rush and all them, man. Do you know what I mean? So I don't even want to think about that. Nah, listen, like Stevie said, they've put us off the gas and all the rest of it, all those sort of analogies there. They're not really that bothered about it. What have they really got to play for apart from some points? They've got the title. They've been given like the ceremony, whatever it is, kind of walkthrough thing. Like, what else have they got to play for, really? Like, they got punked by Man City, so it just goes to show that they're not really on it that badly.
Actually, the thing is, I don't think they're going to get the points record, but I don't think it's because, I personally don't think it's because like they're not motivated anymore. I actually think they got some possible they got like one or two banana peel fixtures, which I think might frustrate them as well. I know you're going to shit on me as well, but I think that Arsenal away game and the Liverpool and the Chelsea game at Anfield as well, I think they're potential banana peels, slip-ups. You know what? Scratch Arsenal. Forget about Arsenal.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're giving us too much credit. You're giving us way too much credit.
Yeah, just the Chelsea game, because I feel like whenever Liverpool have played Chelsea this season, I feel like it's not been an easy game at all. And I feel like if they're not motivated the same way, if they're not motivated to the same levels they were initially on during the start of the season, now against this sort of exuberant Chelsea side, I think they might become unstuck. So I think they have to win all their matches to break that City point record. And I personally think there will be at least one slip up.
Yeah. Can I just call out whilst we're on Liverpool that Firmino has not scored a goal at Anfield all season?
In the league, yeah. In the Champions League, he scored one, I think.
Yeah.
No, but that doesn't matter, fam. This is a number 9, fam. This is a joke team.
This is a world class striker, apparently. Apparently, he's a world class.
This is crazy. The whole season at home.
Like for me, Firmino is a quality player, isn't it? Like and the thing is, I don't even think other fans don't respect him. Do you know what I mean? Right? But it's where Liverpool fans come and they tell you that this guy is the best number 9 in the world. They wouldn't replace him for anyone. This, that, and the other. Like, that is where I have the issue, because at the start of the season, I was being told, he's better than Benzema as a false 9. He's better than this person and that person as a false 9. He's better than Kane. He's better than this. And the thing is, I just want to know where this energy has gone, because I've not seen any Liverpool fans talking about Firmino for like 3-4 months. When I was getting all of this energy back in August. Yeah, so that's just the question I have to ask. Like, you're looking at Benzema now. He's going to have another 30-goal season. He put Real Madrid on his back en route to winning La Liga for however many times he's won it now. So I just want to know, is he still better than Benzema?
Dan, Firmino's not even the best number 9 on Merseyside, let alone.
Yeah, that's wild. Yes, wild.
Yes. For one in his own backyard, he ain't even the best number 9 in Merseyside. Bro. His number 9 has been Moise Keane or something. He's better than him.
This is
someone kick him. Someone kick him. Kick him.
Best number 9.
That's crazy. But I think it's mad, because even if Firmino, like we just called them the pure number 10, I'm sorry, that'd still be poor.
Yeah,
it'd still be poor.
Yeah.
I don't think
No, Toby, don't.
No.
In 18 games at home, you've not scored 1 goal. That's like a Z stats. It is.
You know what? let me say this in my big boy chest. That's Joe Linton stats, bro. He scored 2 for 40 million, and he ain't nowhere near the top. So,
It's a joke.
Yeah,
It's a joke. I love Firmino, but yeah, he needs to do better.
Yeah, the defensive striker, he fits their system well. But you know what? Let's not bash Firmino anymore because I like it's facts, but I like Firmino anyway. I actually wanted to quickly touch on Chelsea before we move on to Newcastle's result against West Ham. So Chelsea winning 3-0. Ross Barkley in the thick of things again. He got an assist and he got a goal. But my thing with Ross Barkley is he's so frustrating because he's got all the attributes. We've been saying this for years. He's got all the attributes. He's a decent passer. He can shoot with both feet. He's got the physical attributes as well. So he can run. He's strong. But yet that consistency, that game-to-game consistency you need to be even considered a good player, let alone a quality player. He just doesn't have it. So I wanted to ask you lot, one, what's your opinion on Ross Barkley? And two, are Chelsea going to get this top 4 spot? Because me personally, I think Man United are going to steal their spot, and I think they're going to drop to 5th.
Bro, if we are waxing lyrical about Ross Barkley on this podcast, I'm going to go and make my dinner.
We're not.
That guy, that guy is not it. If we're talking about Firmino, that was Ross Barkley's first goal in the league in, I think it was 20 months.
Ooh.
It's just a joke. Fam, it's a joke. I haven't seen him move forward one iota, personally, in my view, since he left Everton. And to me, that's a damning indictment of his talent. I don't think he's Chelsea level. And yeah, I think he might be a decent squad player to have in and around the squad. But I think if they're looking to challenge for serious honours, then they can't be having Ross Barkley in their long-term plans.
Yeah,
I would like to echo that. I would say Chelsea are a club that get away with gassing up players also. So yeah. I think we're still waiting. We're still waiting for him and Loftus-Cheek to be that guy. You know, and how long are we waiting for? You know what I mean? They're not small boys. They're not 17. They got that Jesse Lingard effect. You know. So
yeah. Ross Barkley's 26.
26. We're still talking about potential. Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah.
Take the wheel.
Now, look, I've got to disagree with that one. I'm not saying he's levels. I'm just saying that I think he's been played A, out of position, and B, the favoured son, like Lampard's son, is Mason Mount, innit? So basically, Mason Mount's been given all the glory. He said, here, play on, do what you need to do. We've got Jorginho behind you. You've got Kante behind you. Yesterday, I saw a different formation altogether. I saw like Pulisic being pushed forward and Barkley had a little bit of a free rein with Kante behind him. So I think it depends who are they playing behind the front man, I think, in terms of who they're going to get the best out of. Because earlier on in the season, everyone was saying Mason Mount was like the next 15, I don't know, Paul Scholes or whatnot. But then he's going to try up his thing. And now Ross Barkley's getting a little run. So it's all depending on who they kind of let have the free reins, isn't it?
I think with Ross Barkley, I think the credit I can give him is also an indictment of that Chelsea team. I think he's probably offensively, I think he's their most creative player. Someone who can actually get the ball in the final third and maybe pick out a pass. I'm not saying that he's extraordinary at it, but I feel like he's the only one who can do that to a decent standard. For me, Mason Mount, I don't really see him as a playmaker. Mason Mount is someone for me he's good in a 1v1 position, and he's someone who can pop off shots with both feet as well. So if you get him in and around the final third as well, I think he's quite lively. But Mason Mount is not the type of guy who I can see can just pick out a pass where tear. I know he did it yesterday against Watford for Ross Barkley, but I feel consistent creativity. I feel that's what someone like Ross Barkley should bring to Chelsea, but I just don't see it regularly. I don't see it at all. But moving on to Newcastle now. Newcastle 2-2 against West Ham. So I don't know what to make of Newcastle's start, because I feel like you lot have actually been one of the better sides since the restart. Unbeaten in the league. You've not been shy of goals as well. And you kept, you kept one clean sheet, I think? I can't remember. Yeah, I think one clean sheet. So, but what is it with these home results as well? Because Aston Villa as well, you lot were 1-0 up, seemingly controlling the match. And then second half, I don't know whether it was underestimating Villa's resilience, but Aston Villa, I think once they scored in that game, in my opinion, they had quite a lot of control of that match. And then today against West Ham as well. You might argue it, but I think West Ham on another day would have been good value for 3 points today. So, what is it? What is it with you lot at home recently, then, Cleveland?
That's the fair assessment. Thing is, like, we've always had this Achilles heel, and we got rid of it under Rafa, but it's set pieces. Villa, we conceded from a set piece. Today, we conceded our second goal from a set piece. So it's always one way to get at us. Coming into the back of this game, obviously thrashing Bournemouth. We're back. Sorry, bro, I had to get that in. Winning 4-1 against Bournemouth. Yes, we do that too, Man United fans.
It's childish.
Taking shots from 15th, you know. It's crazy.
It's funny, isn't it? It's funny, though, isn't it? But again, we got gas, and I knew we was going to do this. I knew we always have to do this. We always have to let them, well, not let them score, but we concede first, and then that kind of gives us the kick up the backside. Plus, I think most of them, our players were tired, man. Like our star man, ASM, he looked tired. He had about 15 man around him, and he's still trying to dance and weave like he's Carter from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. But it just couldn't work, bro. Like we need some rest, because again, we've got Man City coming up on Wednesday. We've already come out after the game and said our Mirren and ASM's not going to play, and Hayden's not going to play. That's three of our better midfielders. We're just going to really lack strength and depth as it is. So I think today was a fair result, 2-2. We've come back twice. It shows resilience, obviously. I think on a better day and we had more legs, we could have just taken it to them and won the game in the first half, letting them in the second.
Fair enough. So, Dan, I actually wanted to come to you. West Ham. It seems like through no fault of their own, their fellow relegation strugglers in Bournemouth and Aston Villa are doing everything possible to confirm their relegation. But West Ham's performances over the past 2 games, surely Moisey has to get some sort of credit.
Yeah, you do, and that's what he's good at, though. He's good at, you know, getting these teams, you know, getting their level raised, you know, when it comes to squeaky bum time, you know what I mean? So I always felt that West Ham would be probably the one that could do something to stay up under Moyes over, you know, Bournemouth and Aston Villa. And I think West Ham will just stay up by default. You know, I don't even think they'll have to do too much of this, you know, sort of fire and brimstone defending and all of this stuff. I generally think they'll stay up by default, and Moisey will be there next year to, you know, I think what was he saying? He was going to do the RB Leipzig model. There, that's what he's trying to do. So, yeah, fingers crossed to see how that goes down at West Ham. You know, I reckon there's going to be more coins being thrown at the within 12 months, innit? But we'll see.
Good luck. You know what? Jared Bowen, he's someone who I've definitely like sort of had my eye on at Hull City the past season and a half, and I mean his impact at West Ham. Like it's clear to see why you have to trust in some of these Championship players when they're literally sticking out like a sore thumb. How big an impact has he made for you then, Mike, for West Ham sort of survival chances?
Yeah, it took him a little bit of time to settle, but now he's showing he's got a bit of quality about him. He's quite intelligent, which is what I like about him more than anything. He finds space very well, and he knows how to pick up past that. And he's a decent finisher. We're not seeing a lot of that. Obviously, he's not the main goal threat for them right now, but he's finding the right spaces. And him and Antonio are starting to do a little link up here and there. So, yeah, he's going to be cute. He's going to be key. They only need, in my opinion, about another 4 points, and I think they're done.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. Because me personally, people here say Eddie Howe. Listen, me personally, I've never really even liked that guy, to be honest. So the quicker he's out of here, the better.
Wow.
Savage.
Very harsh.
Aston Villa, they can go down so Jack Grealish can come to me, and Norwich are Norwich. So yeah, I'm happy that he's performing well, and I'm happy to see that West Ham are getting the points to stay up in the league, and he's part of that. Very key.
Yeah. I'm not really going to talk on Burnley's Sheffield United because I think the scoreline.
No, let's go into that in detail.
I'm not going to talk about that because that scoreline literally probably better than what I expected. I expected a 0-0, but 1-1 was a surprise. I actually wanted to talk on Man City now, because Man City went to St. Mary's and lost and didn't even score a goal as well. So Southampton, I think they've only won at home once this season or something like that. Something stupid. And I think they got like what, second? I think it's like second or third worst home record in the league. And yet Man City have somehow managed to fumble the bag here. Obviously, Steve, I don't think you watched the game, but Clinton, what did you make of Man City's performance? Because I actually thought they should have won that match if they put away their chances. But we've seen that over and over again in City. They don't take their chances, and then the team just literally shuts up shop, and that's it.
I don't know why you come to me. You know I for why I didn't watch the game, bro. Why is it up for?
Was that the only one who watched the game?
Yeah, probably.
I did, yeah.
You told me it's 1-0. I didn't believe you. What are you trying for?
That's crazy.
Anyone listening to you trying to say
I didn't watch it either.
Wow, so it was
Toby,
I watched it as well.
Okay.
Toby, do you want me to ask you the question then?
No, it's fine. We don't
need to try to set you up, you know. Wow.
No, I didn't even do that on purpose. We don't need to talk about the match in detail, but I actually wanted to raise a point that we can talk about without having watched the game. So Aguero has been injured since I can't remember who it was they played, but Aguero's been injured for Man City's past maybe 3-4 games. And Gabriel Jesus has started. Don't get me wrong, I think he's a good striker, but a lot of people have raised some doubts over his long-term ability to sort of lead that line for Man City. Everyone's convinced that as soon as Aguero is completely finito, Man City are going to go out and sign that elite striker, and that Jesus is a support striker for Man City. What do we make of that opinion?
Yeah, man. Jesus is looking more and more like a sideman every time I watch him play. When he first came to the Premier League, like I was really impressed by just like his potency in and around the box, and he just seemed to be a sharp shooter for me. But lately, and I don't know if it's a confidence thing, but he just seems to be snatching at chances, and he's not being as clinical as I once thought he was. And he's almost kind of reminded me, not in his technique, but just being reminiscent of like Sterling at City in his early days, where he'd come across a lot of chances and he fashioned a lot of chances for himself. He just wasn't packing them away. And I think they've got a problem there, because obviously Aguero is not going to be at City forever. But then I think they've got a wider rebuilding job to do as well, because obviously Silva's going this season, so there's a gap there. Whether Foden is going to play in that exact role, I don't know. Sane is a massive blow. I think a lot of people are forgetting how crucial he was last season when he was fit. I think Mendy is a shadow of what we saw from him in the first season. They need a centre back, and obviously Rodri needs to step up. Not saying he's been bad this season, but if they want someone to be in that Fernandinho mode, then he needs to step up. And then I'm even looking at right back too, and I'm not quite convinced by Cancelo.
Right back.
So yeah, but I mean, even if you think they're safe at right back, I just think they've got to the point where they need another rejuvenation and refresh of their squad if they want to keep competing at the highest level.
Oh, no doubt. Listen, no doubt this next season they'll go hard in the transfer window, man. I think you've just pretty much gone through their whole team and just gone through the whole thing. Like, Mendy's the weak link for sure. My man's a flipping glorified cheerleader, isn't it? Like, he just he's getting that bag, but right now he's not looking like a left back at all. But he should be left back in the change room. And Aguero, yeah, I swear. Like, once he's done, like Jesus is done out here, bro. Because he ain't needed them. Like, he's like your boy Firmino down the road, isn't he? Just like false nine, isn't he? So yeah, they definitely need to be strengthened. But I'm more worried about our boys. We got Man City up next, and whenever Man City get beaten or things don't go their way, they take out our next man, and that's happened to us twice. So I might be back on here next time crying and all the rest of it.
Yeah, that would be funny. Yeah, we definitely probably need to get your reaction, because you lot got to go to the Etihad, boy, and you might hold some smoke she might hold some smoke. So,
Corn, bro.
with Gabriel Jesus, for me, I like him. I actually think he's a really good striker, but I've always thought that he's not clinical. He misses a lot of chances, but now more often than not, I'm starting to somewhat doubt sometimes the presence that he has on matches, because before he used to be like in some games he can actually be a nuisance because he's someone who can dribble with the ball. He's got a lot of skill. He's strong. He's got decent hold up play as well. But like I just feel his impact in some of these matches as the focal point of the attack, I'm not seeing it. I don't think that he's letting centre backs know that he's on the pitch, and that's something I need to see more from Gabriel Jesus over the next couple of weeks. Because this season for me has been his sort of audition to say like, yo, am I ready for this role? Because Aguero had a long spell when he was injured earlier on in the season, and he went on a crazy goal drought, and he ended that. Jesus ended that goal drought at Burnley. Now Aguero's injured again. I don't think he's scored since the restart. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think he's scored a goal yet. So I think he's failing the audition now. And in my opinion, City have always done with two strikers. So they're always going to get a striker to replace him. But is he going to be the main striker, or is he going to be the backup striker? And now it looks like he may still be the backup striker.
I think it'll be telling to see how well he performs when the Champions League comes back. If Aguero's not fit, that might be like where Pep decides whether he can trust him in the long term or not.
Yeah, I know obviously you lot didn't watch the game, but I think you're going to really be impressed with Southampton's goal today. Che Adams scored his first ever goal for Southampton, and it was he scored. Yeah. Che Adams, and go see the goal. Like he's completely Edison off his line as well. So great goal as well. And Ralph Hasenhuttl, I just wanted to get a word on him as well, because a couple months back, a certain member of our podcast who's in this sort of forum now was saying that Southampton should sack Ralph Hasenhuttl.
Dan, I can't believe that. That's wild.
You're shameless, Steve. You're shameless. A certain Man United fan said that Ralph Hasenhuttl should be sacked. Fast forward a couple months later, they're comfortably clear of relegation. They're 2 points behind us in the table, and they've just beaten the 2018-2019 champions. So, what do we think of Ralph Hasenhuttl, and how long does he have left at Southampton before a better side picks him up?
I want to hear what Steve has to say now.
Yeah, I was actually very disappointed to hear Dan come out and make that statement. I thought it was telling of his football analysis. But what I've always thought is that Hasenhuttl is a great manager, a great man manager, and also tactician, and able to get the best out of his players. And I think it's a real credit to him to turn around Southampton's performances since obviously they got whacked. What was it? 9-0 or 9-1? I think he still needs to do a lot. I don't know what the problem is at home, that they can't really seem to pick up results. But I think if he can turn around that home form, which is obviously easier than turning around your away form, then I think next season, I don't want to say they'll be doing well, but they should be much more comfortable than it has been for them this season. I'd like to see them like sign some real key players, and it'd be good to see them back in and amongst the pack that are looking further up towards the table as well.
Fair play. Just the last game I wanted to touch on as well, very quickly. So Jamie Vardy, he's now joined the 100 club. Mike, thoughts on Vardy? Where does he rank in terms of the Premier League greats? Because I saw something mad on Twitter the other day from Micah, and he was saying that he's starting not an agenda, but he's starting a discussion of how Jamie Vardy had outperformed Didier Drogba in the Premier League. So I wanted to sort of bring up Vardy's impact for Leicester and what we think of that comparison.
Okay, first of all, he hasn't outperformed any Drogba. I don't know what Drogba he's talking about. Maybe another Drogba from Ivory Coast in the but he ain't done that. But secondly, no, the goal ratio, I think it's 101 goals in 205 games. That's incredible. That's almost 1 in 2. he's been pivotal from the first day they stepped in the league. Obviously, we all know about the league title season with him and Mahrez doing their thing in the middle. The guy is just a killer. His range of finishing is fantastic. He went from like really focusing on blasting it to finding his finesse, scoring a lot of solo goals. I'm really impressed by his performances, man. I'm really impressed, and I'm happy that he's reached 100. He's a Premier League legend for me, straight up.
Definitely.
Yeah, but again, I don't know which Drogba Mike is talking about. So I'm gonna actually message him after this and talk to him about that. So,
Clinton,
but you know what? Yeah.
Go on. Sorry.
I'm not saying he's better than Drogba or whatever, but I feel like I would put him in and around Drogba's level in terms of impact, because he's been absolutely talismanic for Leicester, and you see for Leicester when Jamie Vardy doesn't perform, generally Leicester don't perform. The guy saved them from the brink of relegation. He's led them amongst other players as well to a Premier League title. Like, the guy has done an absolute madness, and he's pretty much clinical. If the chance falls to Vardy, he tends to net it. He scored all kinds of goals. I think I'm not mad at that shout. I'm not gonna say I agree with it, but I'm not mad at putting him in that Drogba category, because I think he's done a madness.
The record for scoring in consecutive games as well.
Yes. He's been a madness. He's done a madness.
Yeah, he's done an absolute madness. I don't think it's, for me, I agree. I don't think it's a shout that needs to be completely dismissed to the pits of hell, because I think that Jamie Vardy's impact in the Premier League is somewhat underrated. But I just feel, when I look at both players, what they did in the Premier League, I felt like Didier Drogba was by far and away the more complete player. So I feel like he impacted the game in ways that Jamie Vardy never could impact the game.
Yeah, but you see Drogba, am I the only one who recalls like the first couple seasons when Drogba was in the Premier League and he wasn't it?
Yeah, he wasn't that good.
He really wasn't it.
He was still finding his feet.
Yeah, but you see with Vardy's just come straight from the lower leagues, and he's been on it every single season. And again, I'm not fighting that argument, but I think sometimes people forget how long it actually took for it to click for Drogba.
I don't know. Fair point.
I think from an Arsenal fan's perspective, I always have to respect Drogba, because that guy finished my club every time. Every day. I can't say the same about Vardy, innit? So
I'm saying, with Drogba, the presence is just too much. That's why, for me, I could never put Vardy above him. But I feel like it's a discussion worth having. I definitely feel like it's a discussion worth having. Clinton, quick question for you: Who's gonna win the Golden Boot this year?
So you know what? As a Newcastle fan, I never looked that high up. I'm not gonna lie. So it's like asking who's gonna win the title. I never looked that high up. I just kind of look around my sort of 10 down, that sort of thing there. I just kind of look around there. I can probably throw in a couple names and I can guess like who's there. Like Aubameyang probably there.
What about Danny Ings? Danny Ings is around your territory. He's on 18 league goals. You think he's got a chance?
So, again, I would happily have Danny Ings on my side. Listen, this is coming from a guy that has to watch Joe Linton play up top every single week. So, Danny Ings is a luxury to me. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know who else is there. I'm just going to throw a name into the ring. Aubameyang. I'll throw Aubameyang there. That's it. Because I literally don't know. I don't look that high. When you said talk about European places, last time we was in Europe, I don't know. I was in Europe more times than them lot. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really that's kind of foreign to me, innit? So I'm just going to go Aubameyang. I'm throwing something out there.
Fair enough. Dan, who you backing?
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard to beat Vardy, to be honest, because even with that drought, I think, Leicester, he loves scoring against a big side. So I think I think I'll probably stick with Jamie Vardy, but I'm hoping that Aubameyang can do something.
Mike, Steve?
Vardy. I'm going for Vardy as well. I think he's going to now start getting the goals that will help them stay in the top four. And Chelsea will be the team to drop out. I think he's going to be the guy that gets the goals for them.
Steve?
Yeah, I'm inclined to say Vardy as well, actually. Yeah.
Okay, fair. I'm not gonna answer, because I feel like if I answer, it's gonna go down badly. And I
No,
got a bet riding on Harry Kane catching up to Aubameyang, so I can't come out here and say that Aubameyang. I hope Danny Ings gets it. I feel like Danny Ings deserves it this season, based on how he's exploded. But I'm just gonna back Jamie Vardy.
You've changed your tune from January.
Yeah,
I've truly seen the type of player he is, and he's a very good player. I can't lie. I have to hold my hands up. He's a very good player. I think that's actually it, guys. But thank you for joining anyway, man. That was really fun. I'm sure we'll be back here on Thursday to destroy Newcastle when they get absolutely polarized by Man City. So that'll be brilliant.
You know what, sir? If we manage to win somehow, I bet you better keep that same energy. You know that, right?
Listen, I got no more energy to give. My team are toast.
Because the first thing I'm throwing out of the blocks, I'm firing out the blocks. If you manage to.
It's been good to have you on anyway. And for those who are still watching as well, make sure to follow us on all social platforms as well, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, at Tapinfootball as well. And we'll be back on Thursday, I think. Yeah, Thursday. All right. Yeah. All right, guys. See you later.
Yes.